Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. How are you all doing today? That is the question. We are on the eve of Thanksgiving. That is true. We're here to watch Survivor. And I would love to know how my audio sounds. Thank you to the subscribers. Amy with 36 in a row, 37 total. Shig with 31. Psyche with 12. Dorothy with 38. D-Doug with 35. Thank you all. Sounds good. Josh, thank you. The 5th. I have an entirely new audio setup that I set up today. Okay, thank you for the 27th in a row. So the next test is going to be when I turn the audio on the episode. We'll see if that functions. Mel, thank you for the 12th. So I might need to put headphones back in if it doesn't work properly, but here we are. Episode has started. So this is the audio.
I'm the smiling assassin.
That's where we are. Yes, I went on the Diary Room podcast. Did some comparison battles. We're also still doing tastemakers, and we did a Dune recap as well. Dune Prophecy. Hey, let me see if this works as well. See, let me know if you can hear this.
It's just everything I've been fantasizing about for days.
How'd that go? Victoria, thank you for the 7th. Pretty loud, but not too loud. I can go lower, but we can work on that later. Oh, I didn't do a prediction. Interesting. We got Kyle. Queen, thank you for the 13th. Belladonna, thank you for the 43rd. Kyle versus Sue makes sense to me as an episode. I'm assuming Kyle loses immunity. He tries to get it off of himself, but it still lands on him, probably. Alan, thank you for the 26th. It just feels like they have to deal with the Kyle problem at some point. Everybody knows that he gets voted out the second he loses, which theoretically makes for a boring episode. So how do you deal with that? They have to build up a properly believable alternative. Do 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 do. I guess that's true. I mean, Jeff talked about breaking the record, but he did that in the moment. It's not like he added that in post, you know? You could have taken that out of the episodes, sure, but why, might as well keep it in. Relief. Thank you. I think that's fair from Caroline. I wish Caroline had a bigger edit. Solid by Caroline. Being able to betray an ally and then win them back over. That's winning stuff. It's just, was it the right time to actually betray her ally there? Underdog Alliance. Yeah, I mean, this is how Rachel wins, I think. Ooh, that was a close one, but it's a yes. All right. Next prediction. Hmm. Next prediction is how about We could do. Do they have a challenge? Do we get a challenge? That's the prediction. I feel like my lighting could be better. Still working on it. I'm trying to function on like as little. Is that better? It's better behind me. As little lighting as possible so that it's less bright in my eyes, but then that I'm getting lit by the screen too much. You can see whenever there's like a change, like during a commercial, it like fades to black really quick. You can see it's like impacting the lighting on my face. So clearly, I need to have it a little brighter. Stylish, thank you for the 40th. No wall shelves in the new setup? Not right now. All right, I think we're about to be back. Yeah, we're back. Hmm. That was interesting. That was an interesting segment. I'm loving this. This is so fun. So many like different takes on like how the game impacts you and how you feel about it. Hmm. All right. No challenge. Next prediction. Does Rachel lose her vote? In the next segment, does Rachel lose her vote? I don't think this is like the worst play. I think she's right to not want to allow Kyle or Genevieve to get some kind of power. And her worst case scenario is losing her vote, probably. She still has an idol that she could use if she needs to. Okay, I'm thinking the 19th. So I think it makes sense. Barry, thank you for the 22nd. I mean, you also have to worry about like what happens while you're gone, and also do you want to like now put more of a target on your back? You do have to think about like the fact that you already have an idol. Now you're going to this thing. If you come back empty-handed, they might now assume that you have something that they didn't think you had before, and it sort of limits your ability to kind of like use that idol in a surprising way. Anonymous gifting. Thank you to Anonymous. Yeah, I mean, if I'm in that five, I'm worried. I'm worried a lot about Rachel. Um, like Andy's gonna have a case to make for sure, but he's burned people, and he didn't have like the best relationships with them in the first place. Rachel has not really burned anyone and has been noted as a threat before. Um, Caroline and Sue, still to me at this point, at least edit wise, seem like they're not really seen as big threats at the moment. Could change, but as of right now, like they seem fine to bring. And then Teeny, great social player, but has not had a lot of strategic agency. So I'm not as worried about them either at this point in the game. The person I'm the most concerned about in that group is Rachel already. Her going to this thing, potentially getting some kind of advantage, definitely makes me more worried, I would say. But that's just a matter of like maintaining threat level. I mean, we'll see what this is and how she handles the coming back. We're back. We're going straight into the challenge. No, she's doing a challenge. All right. Who is the poor intern that has to collect all the balls if it falls out? This is a fun setup. I think the first thing I'm doing is pulling out all of the balls until I get one color at the bottom of one. I mean, I guess that's just the obvious thing to do. I don't think there's really a trick to this, is there? It's just a matter of doing it. How quickly can you do it, right? As you get more and more color stacks, you can be working on multiple at the same time, which is much faster. But I think it just is what it is. It still dunks in the water. So that's good for 3 tribals. I mean, Rachel is just collecting advantages. That's a no. She did not lose her vote. Next prediction. Challenge. I'd question if her edit is too strong at this point, but I think that like there are enough other strong edits and she had a slow enough start that this is probably what it would look like if she had a winner edit. Also, like, what can you do? She went on this thing and she won the advantage. Would I keep this advantage secret? No. Specifically because of the fact that she has an idol. And you know, maybe there's a world where I don't keep it a secret regardless. But like, I think you absolutely come back and you say, "Hey, I got this block of vote," and that way they don't suspect that you secretly might have an idol or something. Unless you want people to think you have an idol, in which case you do something else. It really depends on your position. I think this position in particular is like, okay, they're all going to question her. What does she say to everyone? She could say she has a block of vote to everyone. At which point she probably becomes the target for those outside of the majority because she now controls 2 votes. And if they can somehow get one on her, then they have an easier time of overcoming the majority. She could tell everyone that she lost her vote and then everyone she lost her vote. But that's not the best idea in the world. You could try just telling her allies that she didn't lose her vote. She actually has a block of vote. It could also, yeah, I mean, it could also incentivize them to try to pull her in. Because if they get her and then she blocks a vote, then that's the one person. But that again kind of puts her in this position of like trying to play the middle. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you just have to say it. I think you just have to tell people. I mean, I had like, what, 30 seconds to think about it? She probably had a few minutes. I don't know. Yeah. She's going with tell just her allies. Oh, and gets the idol info? Or maybe not. Yep. Good response from Caroline. Rachel, all of a sudden, in the most crushing spot, the middle of a 5-person alliance, in the middle of 2 3-person alliances, within an 8, holding 2 advantages. Okay. No challenge. Big result for the no challenge betters. We'll run it back though. Should be a pretty easy one. That was interesting. Genevieve approaching Rachel, but going after people like Andy. Seems like a big misread. Because it feels to me like Andy is the one who's more likely to flip if he can find a way for it to, if you can find a way for it to be advantageous to him. Rachel is far too situated in her current position. I guess that's hard to see. But Rachel is the last person you should be approaching. Rachel is the most comfy right now. And we've also seen that Rachel and Andy have seemed tight. Over the last few days. Which also appears to have been, appears to have not been seen, I guess. Medusa, thank you for the 36th. 35 of them in a row. I mean, it feels like they could be just basically telling us how the rest of the season's playing out. But I guess, like, why would they do that, right? It feels too obvious. Like, strategically, this feels so locked in. In a way that, like, Survivor doesn't always get to, because it tends to be more fluid, it's faster, and it's full of gamers. But normally, if you do have something locked in, they don't tell you about it in the edit because it makes things too obvious. I think it would require, I think, because it feels like they're setting up Genevieve for a fall here, but like Genevieve seems to be the only true hope of overturning this structure that they've set up. Could still be Andy flipping, yeah. I mean, that's the danger, right? Like, Andy initially is saying, I want Genevieve gone, but like, you know, usually the good play there is to go and talk to Andy or talk to Genevieve and be like, hey, what's going on? Rel, thank you for the 14th. We'll see. All right, we're back. Yes to the challenge. Who wins immunity. Is it Andy, Caroline, Teeny, Genevieve, Kyle, Rachel, Sam, or Sue? This was such a weird episode. This is a different kind of challenge than what they've been doing, so this could definitely be the one that Kyle loses. I would pre-stack it like they're doing. I'd rather do that work while I'm not balancing something than when I am. Genevieve, you were being so careless. I feel like, yes, you want to go fast, but like, surely you need to practice what it is to be slow and careful. It's like you have to find the right rhythm of like, how can I move without jostling the thing? And like practicing that muscle memory, I feel like is important. Wow, they're all so close. Surely it doesn't go this quickly. Kyle slowed way down. Caroline gets distracted. I mean, between the three of them, one of them surely wins. That'd be so fast, though. Down goes Genevieve. Down goes Sam. The smug face on Teeny is great. All three of them. Kyle in the lead. See, I mean, they were going too quickly, I feel. Oh, and so was Kyle. He got too caught up. What was I saying? Teeny, who's practicing the slow movement. Okay, never mind. The practicing did not help Teeny. They balanced this well. They made it like totally doable to get to all of the letters except the final one. And then the final one seems to be like a big difficulty spike. I can't even root for either Kyle or Genevieve because I feel like if one of them doesn't win, the other goes home, and I'm still losing a draft member. Genevieve is so. She's trying to catch up. I get that. But I'd rather hope Rachel falls than risk falling like what just happened. Because the chances of Rachel falling are still decently high, unless she goes super, super slow, in which case you'll have a chance to catch up anyway. And if she does fall, you don't want to have botched your own trying to catch her. You know what I mean? There is no foot on the gas with these final blocks, in my opinion. You have to go slow. Do not fall into the trap of trying to put on the gas. Okay. When she's down to the last few steps, maybe. Yeah, she's got it. What an episode for Rachel. Breaking Kyle's streak. Blocking the outsiders from getting an advantage, getting one herself. Putting together a majority alliance. Locking herself in as the core of the alliance. Right. The whole thing now is, do they take out Kyle because it's their only chance, or do they take out Genevieve because she's a bigger strategic threat? And ultimately, I do think taking out Genevieve is the better shot. Because the chances of Kyle losing another one, I think, are still fairly high. And his threat level will remain fairly high also. It'll be hard to take your eye off of Kyle. And worst case scenario, if he does make it to the end because he comps out, it's still not a guaranteed loss in the new era. Like, you can still make a good case, I think. I don't think like, if this were Big Brother, I would say, of course, it has to be Kyle every single day of the week. But Survivor challenges really don't matter as much. At least, especially in the new era. Rachel with 10% of the vote. One immunity. There you go. Prediction. I feel like we set up idols. Does anyone talk about using an idol? I will count any idol talk, even if it's not a real idol. Meaning, like, even if they're like, oh, well, what if Genevieve has an idol? Or what if Kyle has an idol? Any idol talk, any talk about an idol being used, somebody saying, I might use my idol. Are idols going to be relevant to the strategic conversation in any way? that is mentioned in the segment. And we're back. Immunity idol / block a vote. I'm not counting lower thirds. Well, if you don't care what order they go in, then you don't need to use any social capital. Pretty sure Sue just mentioned an idol. I talked over her a little bit. This game got so simple so quickly. It's wild. I'd appreciate if you guys didn't do that. More idle talk. Let's look at the data. The stats. I don't think that's. I mean, the math isn't wrong, but I think the way in which he came up with the statistic is not super solid. Because it sounds like what he's doing is taking like when Kyle plays the field, but like the field is changing every week or every round. So like, okay, that was yes on the idle talk. Next prediction. Let's just go for it, right? Who gets voted out? Kyle, Genevieve, or other? I think strategically, I think this is still a strong episode so far. Um, because we had some cool segments, but this is definitely like the most straightforward strategic episode we've had in a while. It's still like I appreciate that I feel like I understand what's happening. I feel like this is still a good episode. I think you don't have too many of these in a row. But like I'll take this over them pretending it was something it wasn't any day. This episode does feel like a bit of a hammer, a bit of a nail in the coffin of the Sam winner edit. I kind of said Teeny was out an episode or two ago. I feel like this one definitely for me like shuts the door on Sam. Maybe I mean not definitely. You know you don't want to say for sure on anything, but like any kind of significant chance I think is diminishing. Thank you for the 100 bits. Um, I mean, I just think it's so strongly Rachel right now. It feels hard to see anybody else. I mean, Andy's still a huge possibility, but it feels like Genevieve and Kyle are both out. Sam is out. Teeny is out. And it feels like it's just Andy or Rachel. And it could definitely still be Andy. Because, like, who knows what kind of edit he gets. But, like, I think the thing that's swaying me right now more than anything is that we saw Rachel as kind of the cause of Andy wanting to go at um, Genevieve. But we'll see. Thundercats, thank you for the 22nd. And we're back. I like Kyle, but I don't think I would want to see him break the record for immunities for a couple of reasons. One, the immunities are too similar nowadays. Two, um, he's had too many wins that were like double wins or like only competed with some people. I just don't like asterisks if we can help it, you know? Jury's still looking great. Yeah, we're getting to the portion of the season where the people on the bottom are like, guys, don't you know that there's a pecking order? You know that the game has strategically started to stagnate when you hear that. I feel like this might be Genevieve. Sue's eye roll just made me feel like this might be Genevieve because, like, if Kyle leaves here, like, what happens to the Sue Kyle beef? Like, we didn't even really explore it. I feel like they still have story left. I feel like Genevieve doesn't have story left. I'm still super curious about what Genevieve's plan was with the shot at Saul. Because she doesn't strike me as the kind of person that like wouldn't have had a plan. It's clear that the plan just didn't go through the way that she thought it would. But I wish I knew what the plan was. Maybe we'll find out in next interviews. Teeny? Tiny? Thank you for the 39. I guess maybe you could say the resolution to Kyle and Sue is that they don't flip this vote specifically because of Sue. Feels like kind of a lackluster end to that plot that I feel like they've been brewing for a super long time though. We're still going, Jeff? That felt like a great end point. This is so long. Mm. Keyshawn was only like 10 days ago this month. Is that true? It probably is. Okay, we're voting. Arianak, thank you for the 100 bits. He's tallying the votes. Genevieve. Kyle. And then a bunch more Genevieve. Teeny? Who voted Teeny? Kyle? Oh, is it Kyle? I guess it's Kyle. Who voted Teeny? Had to have been one of Genevieve, Kyle, or Sam, right? I'm gonna need a hug from you too. All right. It was Kyle. We could run a prediction of who voted Teeny. Who voted Teeny? Is it Kyle, Genevieve, Sam, or someone else? I put Kylie. Jokes on all of you voting for Kylie. I do think there's a chance it's Andy because he had that conversation with Kyle about throwing a vote somewhere else. Yeah, I don't know why it would be teeny, is the only thing. Or really what the purpose of it is at all. All right, we're back. Sounds like the 5 is turning into a 4. Andy realizing he doesn't have a great path there. Which makes sense. Caroline's too locked in with Sue. Rachel's too dangerous. Andy really doesn't have much of a path there. But the problem is that, like, who can Andy really go with then? He kind of needs to go with Sue and Caroline to some degree, which means you have to be flipping on Rachel. How do you flip on Rachel? You try to pull Genevieve and Sam. But how do you make that happen at 7? Especially when Rachel has a block of vote. I don't know. Okay, so it was Kyle? Kylie? Um, I think that episode was fine. I think that was like, I think in comparison with the rest of this season, it was not quite at the mark. But in comparison to like many of the episodes from previous seasons in the new era, I would still say higher than, like, for a slow episode, I feel like it was still pretty good. There were still some interesting segments and stuff like that. But yeah, it definitely slowed down even more when we got to the post challenge stuff. Um okay. Well, happy the new audio setup worked. What do I think of a plan to fake a 3-2 split vote and then Andy flips on them to vote with Sam and Genevieve? I mean, it's a thing you could do. But that's pretty hard to pull off because why would you, like, you probably wouldn't agree to do it because of how likely it is that somebody could flip. And then especially if you are the one who is proposing it and you're the most likely to flip, it's like, ooh. All right. Well, that was the episode then. Not really much to talk about after the episode, I feel. Seems like the game is kind of set in a seemingly like a straightforward situation here. But yes, happy Thanksgiving to anybody that celebrates tomorrow. And we'll definitely things are starting to move on the streaming setup here. So we'll maybe start getting some more streams in. Hopefully. But thanks for hanging out, and I will see all of you next time.